Now, ladies and gentlemen, turn on your ears and open up your heart because you know dating each other out here today is definitely a fine art. So, to get us off to a great start, please welcome the one and only dating mechanic herself, Miss Alasha Bennett.
Welcome to Dating Mechanics, the show. My name is Alasha Bennett, the dating mechanic, and we have an exciting show for you today. I have my guest with me, Wil Strayhorn, and this episode, we're talking about redefining dating rules. We're talking about overcoming gender norms and dating fears and all of those types of things. But like I said, my guest today is Wil Strayhorn of Let's Face It, LFI Coaching, and you don't want to miss the insights and good time that we're going to have today. But first, a word from our sponsors.
If you would like to advertise on the show, make sure you email us at info@thedatingmechanic.com.
We're back, and I am here with Wil Strayhorn. He is my guest for today. And let me tell you something. We are going to have a great time because Wil and I cut up on a regular. This is our regular thing
no
to
doubt.
cut up. You had a talk show before.
Yeah.
I've been on your talk show.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about all the things.
Yeah.
But first, I want you to, tell us about yourself. Tell the audience about yourself, what you do, all the things that you're in.
How much time
And then
do you
I
have?
know how much time do we have.
Yeah.
But I can start off with this for you.
Okay.
Wil is a transformational life coach.
Yeah.
He helps his clients get over their fears and to stop second guessing themselves, to stop hiding in the shadows, to realize how they are sabotaging themselves and holding themselves back from the things that they want most in their life, in their love and their career, right? You were a talk show host, like I said before.
Yeah.
You're a hairstylist. You're a makeup artist. Like, it's all the things.
All of that.
All
right? All
the
of
things.
That. Yeah. So to start with, I was my first client with my coaching business. I was a person who second guessed myself, and I still have those instances where I second guess myself, and just pretty much understanding and realizing and appreciating my worth. I had to hear that from a lot of people first, and all that stuff comes from pasthood, childhood trauma, competition and all that. So I was my first client, and then my life's work started as a hairstylist, just wanting to see the potential that I saw in other people. I wanted to see them realize that. And I'm able to do that from behind the chair. And from that, I birthed my coaching and development business, which is LFI Coaching and Development. I didn't add there that now I'm a crisis responder. So I go out late at night when people are into those moments, when they get depressed and having all those types of thoughts. I go out and help de-escalate them. And then in another way, helping them realize their worth and that they're needed here on earth.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my schedule is complex.
Yeah. Listen, we're not gonna talk about schedules on this show today because we know about those. Yeah. We have so much in common. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't realize how much we had in common till I really started interacting with you more. But hairstylists, both hairstylists.
Did not know that about you.
You did not know that about me till today, but I've been, following you and those types of things, natural hairstylist for over 17 years.
Wow.
And so being able, what we have in common is going into the coaching profession. And I love when I'm talking to fellow coaches because then we could really get real. Yeah. Right. And that's what we're going to do today.
Okay.
But being able to have a client, doing a client's hair, understanding them. Sometimes, you may, I don't know if you spend as much time on your clients that, I used to, but sometimes hours, 8 hours, 9 hours on a client. And I'm sure in the wedding industry, because, you do wedding makeup, you're listening to your clients, over periods of time and hearing their woes and those types of things. But that's something that we have in common. And I know being behind that chair, we hear a lot. It's really natural for us to go into the coaching.
Yeah, like you said, I have clients that I have literally been with when they were in high school, went to college, graduated, had their child, started their career, and now unfortunately going through a divorce. So I've been with them through all those different transitions. So it was pretty much just a natural order of sequence when I said, okay, I'm going to go into coaching.
Yeah. It really was.
Now, when guys agree in that, yeah.
And that's the same thing that happened to me, because it's like I was, doing hair for so long, and I got married, and things started going wrong in my marriage. And I'm like, I give all this good advice. I'm broken up on the inside, right? But I'm giving all this good advice to my clients, and they're saying so. And it's like, you know what? This is something that I think I can do to fix me.
Yeah.
And then through fixing me and my situation, it's like, oh man, I can help other people.
Because you've been through
this.
And you've been on the other side of it. So now, yeah. Exactly.
Absolutely. I don't think that you can be a good coach or therapist or counselor if you're not willing to do the work yourself
and be vulnerable with it.
With it. Yeah. We talked about authenticity earlier, and just being really authentic, not only with ourselves, but with other people. Right. And I talk about that in dating all the time, showing who you really are out the gate. Don't worry about.
But why don't they do that?
Listen, that's
why don't we? I'll raise my hand. Why don't we do that?
Yeah. Why don't we do that? Why do we feel like we need to be anything other than being authentic? Why do we always have our representatives show up instead of the real person?
Expectation. The word of the day.
The word
Expectation, rejection, judgment. Yeah, I'm suppose, and should. Those are two things you can't bring into my practice. I'm supposed to be doing this, or I should be doing this. Who says?
Who says?
And it's time for us to rewrite that script.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think people really heard you, though. We put a lot of rules. Not only around other people, but we put them around ourselves.
Yeah.
We allow other people to put rules around what we can and we can't do. And it really makes our growth, it just stops our growth. There are people who are grown adults, but they have the maturity of a 5-year-old, of a 12-year-old, of a 15-year-old, because they haven't had the opportunity to actually grow emotionally and mature mentally.
Yeah.
Because of the rules and the parameters that are being put on them by their parents, by their church, by their, neighborhood, their friends,
absolutely,
all of that.
Yeah. And you internalize that and accept that as your own. You identify that, and that becomes a part of something that you take into somebody else's life. And you get married. I have countless cases where I've had clients who, from the outside, it looks like you're perfect. You're two very successful people, have the child, you have the house, you have the cars, but one of you is miserable. Why is that? Because that's nothing that you wanted. That was what you were told as a little girl. When you get a certain age, you're supposed to get married. You're supposed to be able to support yourself. You're supposed to have the 2.5 kids. And then when you're in my office on my chair, where I said, well, you have all the things that you said you were supposed to have. She said, yeah, but that was what my mom wanted. And now you accept, you internalize that. And now you brought this poor dude in who that's really what he wanted.
Yeah.
But because you couldn't identify that wasn't what you wanted, nor communicate that to him during this audition phase, which is what the dating phase is, you're auditioning who your mate is. You can say, you know what, I want the companionship, but this is what I do not want.
So that's what happened to me.
Really?
So successful salon and making it happen and work. And what's the next logical step in life? We feel pushed to do things that either we're not ready for or that we have no great knowledge of or know-how or skill. And so I said, what is the next logical thing in life? Well, I did things backwards according to society. I had the baby first before I got married. So now I have this young child. I've gotten, pulled myself back up, you know what I mean? Great credit and, great business sense and all of these types of things, about to buy a house, all of that. And I said, well, what am I missing? Okay, well, I'm missing the husband and the, and all of that
because
that goes with
should
that.
Have those,
because that's what you should have. And that's what you're supposed to have
right.
in this stage in your life.
Yeah.
Right? You may have done it backwards, but now you can do it right. Right? And so being really pressured that is the next stage in life, and getting married and realizing that I don't know nothing about this.
Yeah.
No, really, like, I have no clue about how to do marriage. and why am I married?
Mm-hmm.
And all of these, everything that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting how we allow other people, and it is allow. And I know a lot of people will say, well, that's how I grew up and all these other things. Listen, let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm. After
After 40 is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you listen, if you're listening to me right now, after 40 is a beautiful thing.
Girl, get after 50. It's marvelous.
Okay. And I can't wait till I get there.
Yeah.
Because after 40, you start to look at people and you go, well, honey, your stuff is messed up.
Yeah.
How you going to tell me about my stuff over here?
That's even if you even look at it. Because certain things you can realize it's not even worth my breath.
Listen.
Yeah.
But after 40, things just don't matter
the
way that they used to matter.
Yeah.
And I'm not that, and I'm okay with not being that. I'm okay that I'll never be that if it doesn't happen, right? And I'm okay with myself. And you start to look inward and appreciate who you are.
Yeah.
So I can't wait till 50 when we just really don't care about what people are saying and doing and all of those
what
things.
They think. Yeah, their measures that they try to place us against those unrealistic expectations.
Yeah. And so that's kind of what we're talking about today with these gender rules and all of this kind of stuff. It's crazy these days. Yeah. I mean, we know that there's other podcasts out there that they're just way out there. They're taking it to the extreme. I feel like we're in we do the extreme. It's either we're too subservient when we're talking about relationships, or we're way over the top where it's all of these rules and things that are in place that's not really healthy. And there's either far left or you're far right. Yeah. And I think we need to be able to meet in the middle and be sensible and logical about things and not always put emotion into place. So recently here, they were talking about going to the Cheesecake Factory and what dates you shouldn't take someone on. And all of these silly
There's that word. You shouldn't take. For what? Why? Who says that? When my clients come in there, before they even tell me anything, I say, this is what we're going to do. This is the rule. It's only you two in the relationships. You two are going to define what your relationship is. So we don't use the word, like I said, we don't use shoulds. We don't use coulds in the relationship, in the whole conversation. Because I think the first thing you guys need to have before you even get into a relationship, you need to ask yourself, what is it that I want from a relationship, especially if you're just coming out of a relationship? Because nobody comes out of a relationship the same way that they went in. So you need to ask yourself, okay, at this place I'm in now, after just coming out of this relationship, who am I, number one? And then what is it that I want from a relationship? And what is a deal breaker? What do I do not want in a relationship? So I always ask them, separately before I even bring them together, what is it that you want? If you could draw this relationship on the paper, I say, what is it that you want? And then I ask the next person, what is it that you want? And then I compare it before I even bring them back together. And very seldom is it the same thing. And I said, well, why is it that you don't know this about it? Because they never talked about it. They went into the relationship thinking, well, I just, you're the man. You should know this. And, why doesn't he know you feel this way? Because he should know that. Right. Why should he know? You're a whole different human being. Why can't you tell him what you need? Why can't you tell him that's how you need him to touch you? Yeah. When you need him to touch you. And then it becomes an issue when it really doesn't have to become an issue. If you would just, growing up, my mom didn't talk about those certain things. Why? Why is that? This is your relationship. Big thing that I'm dealing with now is I love each other. We love each other. They're doing well financially. They have a house. They have fun together. But every now and then they want something for somebody else. Okay, if that works for y'all.
If that works for you.
That's your relationship. Okay, it might not have worked for your grandparents.
That's right.
But just like everything in life, things evolve.
That's correct.
Right? Relationships evolve. A lot of the features I just got a new car. All the features in my car, I ain't having my car that's 13 years old because cars have evolved. So why don't relationships evolve? You can't have that same mindset that your grandparents had back in 1970, even though, a lot of them back in the 70s, grandma and granddad were married, but they weren't living together. They just didn't maybe believe in divorce,
Well.
Granddaddy lived down with Miss Sue down the street. You know, things were different. So I always say, you know, this is your relationship. Y'all are the only two people in it. So you need to make it work with what's best for you. And people are afraid to have that conversation because of those expectations.
And it's interesting that you say that. And I always try to bring this up because there are so many people that just don't understand the difference between a relationship and a marriage. And they really do believe that the two things are the same. And they really aren't.
No, they're not.
You work on them differently. They have different dynamics to them. You know, people don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But if we talk about history of marriage and all of those types of things, your marriage is your financial contract. And if we do not get that into our head, honey,
Yes.
if we do not get that into our head,
Yeah.
that marriage is a financial contract, that does not mean that you cannot have a great relationship.
Exactly.
But you have to take care of the finances and the business.
The business parts of
your
the marriage. Yeah.
Man, you have to talk about the business
Yeah.
of your union.
Yeah.
Because what do they say? The most thing that couples fight about?
Finances.
Finances is up there.
Yeah.
It's up there. It's finances, it's sex. Right? And why? Because those are the two things that are so near and dear to how we express ourselves, what we need. Can you imagine living in a cardboard box with someone? No, I'm not doing that.
No.
Why?
Right.
Why do I need to do that?
Yeah.
You know what
And
I'm
those are
saying?
two things that, for whatever reason, we're most uncomfortable talking
We're
about.
most uncomfortable.
We don't like to talk about sex. We don't like to talk about money.
We don't want to talk about credit scores.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about debt.
No, we're going to talk about all that. Yeah. Before you hand me a ring, before I get on my knee.
Before we move in together.
Let's have them. Exactly.
Before we decide that we are building a future together. If marriage is about building, it's about wealth, it's about how are we going to build this life together.
Yeah.
How can you not tell someone your credit score or tell them what's happening with you
Yeah.
in the financial realm of things?
Yeah. Right.
How can you build like that when you don't know what the other person has going on?
Yeah. And then you marry this person, and then down the road you realize, okay, they done had 3 bankruptcies, or they done XYZ, and you're kind of stuck.
And this is why they run from everything.
Yeah.
Because they can't stick to something and see it through.
Yeah.
People don't realize that a lot of the things that we do in our lives, matter of fact, everything that we do in our lives is correlated some way. So relationships are not just intimate relationships. It's relationships for everyone that's in your life, whether it's your coworker, your boss, the person at the grocery store, or whatever.
Yeah.
Relatives, your parents.
Yeah.
They're all relationships.
Yeah.
And they all have something to do with one another.
Yeah.
Your relationship with your parents is why you picked the guy that you picked.
Yeah. Most
why
girls
you
do
do
marry their dads. So yeah.
So we have to be able to see that for what it is.
Yeah.
So that we understand why we do the things that we do. And a lot of people don't understand why they do the things that they do. Why did they pick that guy? Why did they pick that girl? Well, because my mother did this and we were dating and she started doing this and it reminded me of my mother and I felt comfortable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But within your comfort, you're not picking the right person for you.
Right. Right. But and that becomes the work that I always ask. Have you taken time to get to know yourself first before you try to extend yourself and join yourself with somebody else? Do you know who you are, what you want, what you do not want? A lot of people, we just want to be joined together because we feel like we need to be unified. Okay, if that's going to be your case while you're doing your work, then this is the hookup culture. This is dating apps. Swipe right. If that's what you feel like you need to do, get rid of these expectations. A woman should not be doing that. Girl should not be doing that. Religious, whatever it needs, and do what you need to do for yourself. I want to be in a relationship, but I know I'm not here yet.
Yeah.
Okay, but I still need whatever. Do what you got to do.
And be real about that.
And be real about it. If nobody, but to nobody else but yourself. Don't lie to yourself.
And the person that you are in that relationship with.
Yeah.
Whether it's a hookup or not, it's still a relationship.
Yeah.
And like you were talking about earlier, being in a relationship with someone and y'all see other people. Y'all go outside the marriage.
And it's
other people coming into your marriage.
And especially in our culture, they don't. I mean, they do it, but they don't want to admit to each other that that's something they want to do.
And not only that, they're not admitting that that's what they want to do. They're not admitting that they're doing it.
Yeah.
You're doing it. You're
Yeah.
going outside. You're getting attention from someone else, or you're going outside. You're sleeping with someone else. There's a lot of
Even
people,
if it's the person at work that brings me a snack, whatever what is that person doing to you that you can't translate to your spouse that you like, that you need? Is it the attention? Is it the gifts? What is it?
a lot of people think they're in monogamous relationships.
Really?
They really think that.
Yeah.
And there's something else going on that their partner needs, even emotionally.
Yeah.
There's something that work wife or work husband is giving that is not being given at home.
Yeah. I remember on my podcast, we had a relationship about a show about cheating. And I was just saying, I made something that kind of pissed people off.
Okay.
Because my statement
that's what we
was,
do. I
got married in 2019. But after I got married, it was like things changed. I mean, this is nothing that's, new to him. It just changed. So I was just like, I made the statement that to me in the relationship, I think my most favorite part, like those first 6 months, that's like the chase. That's when you're calling, you're putting the cards on the table, you're doing all that stuff. But it's like, once you get married, it's like you're in a race, you get the spouse, and then you're like, whew, I got it. Now I can take my shoes off. I can just relax. All that stuff stops. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Oh, so you got me. Now I done signed the papers. So all that kind of stuff stopped.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why doesn't that? And that could be why, dude or female at the job is, gaining up on you because they're doing that stuff because it's new. Because it's new and fresh. So it's a constant work to keep those things.
But they don't get to see that person. They always get to see that person at their best.
Oh, yeah.
Number one,
of course,
and they don't get to see that person all the time. It's you know what I mean?
Right.
They literally know when they're going to see that person.
Yeah,
right. And they know for how long they're going to see that person.
Yeah.
Right. So it is a different dynamic.
Yeah.
But there's still something there that's missing within the relationship. And are we okay?
The relationship or that person? Because sometimes it could be an insecurity that nobody can feel other than yourself. So that again, that becomes your work as an individual.
And do we allow our partner, I'm not going to say allow. Do we accept that in the relationship, you love being in the relationship, you love the person, you guys, your marriage works, you work well together. However, they need something that you cannot give them.
Absolutely.
And they can get it from the coworker.
Yeah.
And they can get it from, whoever they're spending their time with, and you may have boundaries around sexual, intimacy or whatever, but they're able to get something else that they need and it's not from you. Are you okay with that? Are we so controlling in relationships that we can't allow our partner to actually be fulfilled for their own growth and well-being?
Now, my answer to that would be, so what is this person providing you? And are you giving me an opportunity to feel that? Now, if this is something where the person gives you validation, because I've met people who they need constant validation. Well, this person giving it to you for this long is not going to be fulfilling all the time. You're going to need it from somewhere else. That becomes an internal work. Why do you need this constant validation? That's something that you need to go off somewhere and maybe get you some therapy or whatever to figure out, why do I need this constant validation from people? Because it won't stop. I can guarantee you it won't stop with the person at work. You're going to constantly be seeking external validation.
But what if your spouse that's just not them. Or
Well,
they just don't have it in them. Or they just not we all have it in us to be, encouragers and those types of things. But what if the person needs work done, but in the meantime, they still need that validation.
That's that conversation. Are you giving that person the opportunity? Are you coming to them saying X, Y, and Z, this is what I need from you. This is what I'm going through right now. And beginning of the year, my spouse and I had a conversation because we're big on love languages. When we first met, mine was acts of service. But going through this career transition, and we were talking about the things that I was trying to implement in my career, I was dealing with a lot of self-doubt and feeling inadequate for some of the things I wanted to do. And I was like, you know what? I think my love language has changed. We had the conversation that now it's words of affirmation. I need a little bit of upbuilding sometimes when I feel low. It's no longer that. So, realizing that people change. So that person having the conversation with that spouse and being, you know what, this is what I think I need from you a little bit. before you seek it from somewhere else. And if they don't give it to you, then that's another issue. That's a whole nother issue. Perhaps counseling or therapy or something. If your spouse isn't willing to give you what you're asking for, because that is a grounds for infidelity.
Right.
Yeah, but are you first going to that person and relaying to them that this is what I need from you?
Yeah. Do we give people, because you said something, do we give people, our partners in a relationship, the ability, or not ability, do we give them the room to change? Because a lot of times we don't. We want it to be the same all the time, and we don't want our partner to change. And if they change, it's a big deal. If they change their hair, it's a big deal. If they change, their routine is a big deal. They start going to the gym, and I'm not going to the gym.
You moving differently. Yeah, exactly.
You moving kind of funny now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because they want to do something different because we're not supposed to. Nope, there you go. You're going to catch me every time. Look, because every time I look at you, you brought the word. You
have to give grace for growth.
Oh, absolutely.
Grace for growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I don't think we do enough of that for our partners, the people that we say we love. We want grace. We don't give it.
Yeah.
Right?
But then again, that goes to the conversation. A lot of people don't want to have these conversations. If you're going to change, let's say that when you got together, you were a loner. You were a loner. I didn't have a lot of girlfriends, blah, 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 blah. As you graduate, you got into the work circle, you're building relationships now. So for someone who you're not communicating with, now, when we got out on Saturday nights on the weekend, she was always here with me and the kids. We weren't doing anything. But now, on weekends, she's going out to a networking event. She's doing X, Y, and Z. Well, did you communicate with him that now that you're in this professional circle, a lot of the opportunities and the connection as a real estate agent are made at these mixers and these events outside of work? Communicate that with your spouse so that they're not creating these farce and these fictional events in their mind because you're moving different. Because you're changing, because you're growth. I think that'd be a lot easier other than you just getting dressed and, okay, well, I'm going out Friday night.
Right. And
in their head, they're like, oh, really?
But you know what I think a lot of people do? Expectations again. They expect the person to not be behind them and what they're doing. And they think that they're going to have an issue with it and a problem with that. So they don't communicate how they want to move differently. And then it becomes, in their mind, they've made up this whole scenario about how that person is not going to accept it. And then it becomes, I'm going to do what I want to do. And
I'm going to lie and say I did this. I was going to do that because I just don't want to go through it. I don't want him.
Correct.
And then it's an issue when it doesn't have to be.
Yeah. And then you haven't communicated any of that.
Right.
And like you say, you walk out the door and you got on the nice clothes and just like, hold on, where are you going? Out this door.
That's when they start looking through your phone.
Listen.
Come on.
Right. Well, we could have avoided all of that. Right. They could have been invited. Look, be some candy. I'll be some candy on somebody. Look, listen. I will be candy on Bay's arm.
Right.
If he's like, listen, I need to go to this mixer.
Yeah.
I need to go to this networking thing.
Yeah.
We have our own code words and, all that kind of thing. Like, get me out of this situation, please.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
and that's
working
what
as
makes
a team.
It fun.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Yeah. So, I mean, because we could talk all day long. Okay. Like, it's a whole thing.
It's
a whole thing. Like I said, I love talking to fellow coaches because it's like, we have a different way of speaking. Not only to one another, but to a situation. That hopefully people watching this podcast or listening to this podcast is going to be able to kind of gravitate to and hold on to. How can people reach you?
LFIcoaching.com. That's L Frank Indigo.
Okay.
LFI.
Yes.
Larry Frank Indigo. Coaching.com. And that has all my information on there.
All the things. All the things. And so because like I said, makeup artist, hairstylist, coach and all those things. You just had an event that I saw online and I was like, ooh, I want to do this. So you had a couple of ladies and you did a makeup session with them.
It was a makeup party.
Okay.
And that started like a couple of years ago. So we talked about COVID, when the salons closed down. I have 2 master's degrees, which I had not used. And because I was fine doing hair, it was doing a good living. But when the salons closed down, I was like, oh, I got to find something else to do. So that's when I entered into the mental health avenue. And I was always thinking, I can't work in the salon, but what else can I do with my creative skills? And I was doing makeup classes and going to people's houses doing their makeup.
Gotcha.
So I thought about doing the makeup parties because somebody was like, I want to do something for my girls club, which was like a Rotary club or something. And we just turned it to a party. I was like, you take care of the food and the decorations. I'll bring my makeup mirrors, my books and everything. We'll just have a good old time.
Yeah.
And it just caught on. So people are calling me, booking me. Last night we did it it was a company. It's our anniversary for the company. So all of her coworkers, they got together at her house and we have a good time. Last night was the first time it turned into an opportunity to coach. I have not added that aspect to it yet, but I think I am because that
absolutely.
was a good opportunity. Of course, I got to consider confidentiality and everything, but there's so many opportunities to connect with different people in our line of work.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that people, when they're doing an activity that is, that everybody's doing and they enjoy, they're able to let their guard down.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people come in
And
our
connect
offices.
more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes people come in our offices and they're so like, they're not loose. They're not, you come in and talk to me, but you're so, you don't want to say anything. You don't want to, you're feeling, however you're feeling, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, it's like you came here, I'm your friend. Like, let's talk about it. Right?
Expectations.
Right.
I didn't expect that. When they come in, because I joke around a lot, I didn't expect, you to be so relaxed and joke.
Yeah.
I like, because they say I look mean, which I do. I look at pictures, I'm like, why I look so mean? But they didn't expect it to be like it was. I like to laugh.
Absolutely.
So I like to make sure that people, their guards are down because they're going to be vulnerable with me. At least I hope.
Yeah.
So just making sure people are relaxed and able to release.
Yeah.
And not feel like it's going to be any type of violation of their confidentiality or anything. So I just make sure those are in place, and then we have a good time for like 2.5 hours.
Yes, and I love, like I said, being able to do an activity and getting people to let their guard down, letting people, be able to be themselves without feeling pressure. We're just talking. That's what we're doing.
Sounds
we're just
like a
talking.
collaboration to me.
I mean, I'm telling you, last night, actually, I did a affirmation paint party. And we had these nice big afro wooden heads, and we painted them, and we put words of affirmation on them. And it was a beautiful time. We ate a little, we drank, we talked.
You gotta have some food.
And we were, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And we were able to just let our hair down, be in the moment, and just focus on us.
Yeah.
And not have to worry about the outside world.
Yeah.
And it was very transparent, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful moment. So, boy, like expectations again. Like I'm trying to get back to the actual topic of the day, but it's like I mean, and it's
so
great
complex.
that right, and it's great that we can flow and be all over the place. Like I said, that's why I love talking to coaches because we can just be all over the place.
You can roll with it.
But we're talking about traditions and traditional dating, and let's speak to that a little bit because why do we feel like dating has to be one way? And if it's not that way, either we're doing it wrong. We feel like we're supposed to be born knowing how to date. And why do we have all of these expectations in place? Valentine's Day is coming up. And there's a whole bunch of expectations put on Valentine's Day, not just for, single people, but for married people as well.
Yeah.
We got to get the candy. We got to get the this and that.
Gotta.
And what is the expectation? That if we get those things, sex is
It's going down, right?
Right. As a result of it.
Yeah.
Where are these expectations coming from? Because it's killing me online. It's really killing me online that people feel like these and they're not universal. These are not universal expectations.
Not at all. And they're not law. They're not law. But I mean, a lot of that, like especially Valentine's Day, is commercialized because you see the commercials. And then you start to feel sad if we don't have anybody January because February is coming up. So yeah, a lot of that is just money-making schemes. And we don't even, I mean, my marriage, we don't even subscribe to all that kind of stuff. I think he did mention going out to eat next week, but we go out and eat every week. So
so it don't even matter. So,
I mean,
so
I don't
where
know how
are you
that's going
taking
to be
me
different.
this week, babe?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, what's going to be different this week?
Yeah.
So let's talk about some current dating trends.
Okay.
Because
Now you're going to have to make me hip to these. So what are the current
Well,
ones?
I mean, I don't know.
I've been locked down for so long.
Listen,
Yeah.
I don't know all of them, but just thinking about how people are responding.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the whole dating thing. Now that everybody's coming out with a list every week about the places that you can go to eat.
Really?
So you know the whole Cheesecake Factory thing.
What
So
is
we
that?
can't go there.
Why?
Oh, you don't know?
No.
Okay. So a young lady, it was a whole video,
Uh-huh.
and a young lady came out, and she was upset because the guy had took her to Cheesecake Factory. And no, we don't go to Cheesecake Factory type of thing. Now, you know, what's wrong with Cheesecake Factory?
Yeah, what's wrong with
Like, they got
Cheesecake
all the
Factory?
choices. They got cheesecake, for
They
goodness
have a
sake.
huge menu. Yeah.
Like, it's so much. Like, the Cheesecake Factory is not one of my favorite places to go, but it's not because the food is bad.
Yeah.
It's because there's so many choices.
Yeah.
It's way
It's
too
an
many
extensive
choices.
menu.
And then I can't figure out what it is that I want to eat. And I'm just looking at the menu.
Yeah.
That is my only reason
So what?
why.
It wasn't what the name brand wasn't high up on. Did she have to pay for it? Did he pay for it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's still, oh yeah.
So it was.
Hopefully that was the last date.
Well, they wound up not going on a date because they were supposed to go somewhere else, and because she was late, he had to cancel
She
the
has
reservation.
that inner work that I say you need to do. Why do you feel so validated that because somebody wants to treat you to a restaurant, it's not good enough for you?
And Bay and I was talking last night, and you know, I was getting food for the event that I was doing last night, and you know, we went to Chick-fil-A, and I was getting like the nuggets and stuff, and he was like, "Are you gonna buy me something to eat?" And he doesn't even eat from Chick-fil-A. Okay, but it was funny to us because we started thinking about all of that. Well, what you mean, you know? And I told him, I was like, well, we don't do that. We don't eat at Chick-fil-A. We eat, if you want me to take you on a date, if you want me to take you on a date, we're gonna go like to a nice restaurant. But then we started talking about it, and it's like, it's so funny that a man doesn't care. The fact that you wanted to take, like you were agreed to get me something to eat, is more important to them than where you're going. They don't care.
Well, I wish that was universal. I really do, and it should be that way. But Justin, are you listening? This dude, yeah, he's just bougie, and half of that's me. But
You made him bougie?
yeah, I think I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's okay.
No, it's not okay.
You brought him up to bougie.
It's not okay.
The bougie is good. Like, I'm hotel bougie.
Are you?
I'm hotel.
Well, I'm hotel bougie.
I'm
too.
hotel bougie. Like, I've been to some very, very nice hotels, and I'm just hotel bougie at this point. Like, if it doesn't have a robe and slippers, yeah, I'm hotel bougie.
You won't stay there, or you just
Not
upset?
that I won't stay there. It's just like, oh, where are we?
Oh man.
Where are we really?
Okay.
Bae, where have you brought us?
Okay. Well, you know what? Let's go back to your previous conversations. So he asked you to buy him something. Is that an issue for him asking you to buy something? Does he always have to buy it?
So this is hilarious because I can. So when we started dating, like the amount of money this dude has spent is just, at this point in dating. Like, we've been together for, this is year 4.
Okay.
But even the first year of dating, the amount of money this dude has spent is just ridiculous, right? And I say that because there's been a couple of instances with us where I've actually surprised him, and it's like he didn't know how to respond to that. Okay, so one of them was, it was Christmas time, and we were in the mall, and you know, we go shopping or whatever, and he's like, "What do you want? What do you want?" I'm like, "Don't really want anything. Like, I'm not a Christmas shopper, you know, type person. Don't do all of that." And so I was like, this is my opportunity to get him something. And so I wanted to buy him a coat, and he didn't want me to buy the coat. And I'm like, what? What is the problem? Like, it was an issue. Like, we literally had to leave the store and come back.
It was a real
and
issue.
buy the coat. And this is what it came out to be. It's like, he was like, you were trying to do something for me. And he was like, I couldn't accept it. I couldn't. And he was like, I had to realize that you're being fulfilled by doing the thing for me. And so I have to give you room to do the thing. Because there's been times when we'll be in a store, restaurant, anything, and I'll take out my card, and he like it's been so many times we'll be at the store, I'm like buying him socks or buying him something, and he'll get the card out so fast and put it in the person's hand.
Baby, not
and
me.
It's like, what is happening? Like, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
But then it became an issue because why can't I do something for you? You've done
But why
so
does
much
he
for me.
feel? Where did he learn that the woman couldn't do that?
Well,
it was his place to take care of that.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's a whole, because
Yeah, that's a whole-
society has
that's a- and
said
that's-
that men are supposed to be the ones to do,
and that's what
this,
needs to
that.
be worked on, because the next time you try to do something, it's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Then he needs to become fine
No,
with
no,
saying,
no.
"Oh, I
He's
got a
good.
woman
Oh, no, he's
that
good
is
with it.
able
Oh, honey,
to do
he's
this."
good with it now.
Oh, he's good with it.
Oh, yes.
He done
He's
learned.
good with it
Good.
now.
Yeah. That's,
So
yeah.
if we go out and I'd be like,
Yeah,
I got
this.
it
And he
or
cool
whatever.
with it.
He'd be like, okay. Like,
I'm all power couple. That's
he'd be
it.
like,
Yeah.
he go ahead, Tabitha, retire.
Yeah.
Like, he'd be like, he did a whole thing,
Exactly.
right? But, and there was another
Yeah.
instance when, he doesn't carry cash. Like, who carries cash anymore, right? Like,
Go ahead.
I may have a 20, you know. So he wanted to pay the valet,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Hey, do you have any cash?" It's like, I don't even really think he meant it, but he meant it. You know what I mean? Like, maybe she has some cash, you know. And he was like, do you have like some cash or whatever? And I was like, oh yeah, and I gave it to him. And he came back later to me. He was like, you didn't ask me what I needed it for. And I was like, well, why do I need to know? You've done so much for me up until this point. And it's not about the spending of the money, but it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you've done so much for me. How can I deny you what you're asking me at this point?
Yeah.
And I say that to say a lot of us don't take the time to realize what someone has done for us, and then we make it a big deal. The man is supposed to pay this. The man is supposed to do this. The woman is supposed to do, like, whatever it is. And then we take for granted the fact that we just take people for granted.
Yeah.
It's like, it's okay for you to reciprocate.
And even in
it's not
that
that big of a
instance,
deal.
if it had been difficult for her previously to take something from you, that was a moment for you to be like, I appreciate you asking me for that. That's how teams are built.
Yeah.
I appreciate you trusting me with that and giving me the opportunity to contribute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was good. That was good. Kudos to him.
Yeah, and and we have we're progressive in the sense that we think outside the box when it comes to relationships.
Yeah.
But we've also grown up in the church. Things have been ingrained in us. And we recognize and say, we'll be like, oh yeah, that's that church.
Yeah, that's
right
that church
there. You know what I
talking.
mean?
Yeah.
Or that's mama
Been
talking.
here.
Or that's
Yeah.
what, all of those things, because it's just so ingrained in us at this point. Is society has done a number on ourselves. Like I said earlier, that we hold each other back.
Yeah.
We put rules and things into place, right?
Yeah.
Tell me how it works, because you're in a same-sex marriage. Tell me how it works in the dating world. Like, who pays? Like, who? Like, what is the? Like, what is
It's
the
so
thing?
complex. It's so
Okay.
because with same-sex relationships, whether you're male to male, female to female, trans male, it's so complex. So each one is individual.
Okay.
And then you have my situation where there is a 20-year age difference, and then you have to deal with that daddy to young person. So in the beginning of our relationship, I was the person who because he was so much younger, he wasn't in his career, that I paid for most everything until he stopped me one time. We were at Ruby Tuesday. I'll never forget. And he was like, stop pulling out your card all the time.
Oh, come on,
Yeah,
Justin.
I was
He,
like,
look, he
okay.
pulled up me.
And I would tell him that it was one of the instances when I knew he was the person for me. Because I had always been attracted to younger people, and I think they were just used to Will, he gonna pay for everything. And I was used to doing it. But he let me know that it was bigger than that. So it just really depends on the relationship. A lot of times if there's a masculine male and a feminine male, the masculine one will pay more because they have that more traditional role expectation.
Okay.
But there really is no set rule, just like an in relationship, on who pays for what. And that goes for everything.
Okay.
Just money.
Okay.
Yeah. So there really is no set. There is no set thing. It's just it's an individual to the relationship.
Okay. Like, we can go on and on.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
about clients, about just all of that.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys subscribe
Yes.
to TikTok and YouTube and and Facebook at The Dating Mechanic so that you can keep up on the different interviews that I'm having here. We're definitely going to have you back on because,
Okay,
boy,
I'm ready.
like it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Tell us once again how to find you.
LFIcoaching.com, and all my information is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
We
You as well.
must do this again.
And that collaboration, I feel it coming on.
You
so,
feel it coming
yeah,
on? Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Oh, we'll talk about
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
We'll definitely
right.
talk about that. I appreciate you for being on. And you guys just give them some words of encouragement out here in this dating world. I know you haven't been in the dating world for a little bit now, but give them some type of encouragement that's going to allow them to feel like I could do this. Because all they talk about is pee in the pool. That's all they talk about is pee in the pool. They in the pool, but they talk about pee in the pool. But let's just give them some encouragement.
You know what? Across the board in transformational coaching, it all starts with yourself. And I think so many times when we go into the dating world, I remember, how do I need to be to attract somebody else? Which takes me away from who I am really. So I just always tell people to be bold, be beautiful, and be yourself. And then you're going to attract somebody who is really for you. And, that's the foundation of the work, versus you attracting somebody trying to be what somebody wants to be. They find out that that's not you, and then it's a whole issue. So just be firm in who you are, love yourself, and then all that you need and all that's for you it's going to come to you.
Absolutely, because there's someone for everyone.
It's a couple people for everybody.
Look.
Let's be real about it.
That's a whole conversation. There's a couple of people. Yeah, we start talking about the one.
Yeah.
Look, that's a whole conversation talking about the
Yeah.
one. But absolutely. That was beautiful. Thank you for that.
No problem.
And I hope you guys grab on to that. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Pick us up wherever you get your podcast. And of course, on YouTube, subscribe and share.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
See you guys next time.
All right.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to The Dating Mechanic on your favorite podcast platform at The Dating Mechanic. Comment, follow, and share. Your support helps us grow and keep bringing you great content.